It's mid-afternoon, Baker County, Florida. I'm the Philosopher Pirate, and this is Florida at Large. I'm asked often because my water system is entirely enclosed. So, when I first started this journey, I had not completed the water system. It was something that I completed as I was going along. And basically, I was using this. This, by the way, was fantastic. But it's only 5 gallons. And if I want to take a freshwater shower after a seawater swim, it just wasn't enough, and I was having to fill it constantly. But basically, you can wash their hands, wash their face, so forth. Faucet. You can open this to vent as you need it, so forth. It worked out fantastically, and it is my backup system. Completely gravity. Easy to fill with the large cap. And by the way, when I show these products on my videos, I'm not receiving any sponsorship unless someone wants to contact me for that purpose, but I'm not going to sponsor anything that's not useful to me or that I don't already use. And it's proven useful, I should say. Basically, I'm going to demonstrate how I add water back to my water system since it is fully enclosed. There is no inlet installed on the outside of my vehicle. There is no water connection point to attach, city water, so to speak, or shore water, as they say in the marine industry. Everything is enclosed. And the water pump is here. You probably can't see that very well. All the plumbing and everything, I designed and installed all that myself. I'm going to demonstrate in just a moment how I obtain water, and then I'm going to demonstrate filling the water. If you just give me a moment, we're going to pause. We return now, and I am near a hose bib, water faucet, what you want to call it. We're actually in the Olustee Battlefield. This was the 3rd bloodiest battle in the Civil War. It took place right in this area. Much of this ground is hallowed ground. The Union soldiers were buried where they fell. So it is important to be respectful in this entire area here. It is a National Historic Site as well as the first state park in Florida. I carry a little gallon or two every time I fill, and that's just in case I have an emergency and I need some water and my water system fails for some reason. I hope that never happens. And one of the things I do is I leave the lid on there. And for sanitation purposes, you want to rinse the outside of your container first. Then, after rinsing the outside of the container, we want to fill. Like I said, this has a very large, I've already tasted and smelled the water. It's important to do that because sometimes water will lay in a pipe for a long period of time. You want to run it for a few minutes. This water will now be Baker County. I think I have 11 different counties of water mixed into my water system because I'm not waiting till the tanks are completely empty before I add water. I actually add water every time I'm down about 5 gallons, and usually 5.5 to 6 gallons. That way I just add the 5 gallons and I'm done. I don't need to be completely full. It's not necessary. And I noticed some RVers, they're hardly ever even close to full because they're worried about sloshing. I've developed a system where I can be completely full and I do not have any sloshing worries. It's an invention that I've put together myself, and I don't know if I'm going to put that on a video. I may want to look at marketing it if anyone's interested in contacting me with regard. It is a design of my own. And I've been on some pretty steep hills, uphill, downhill, braking, accelerating, some cornering and so forth. Not that I drive this like a sports car, but no sloshing whatsoever. And the venting works in both directions. Air is able to exit and air is able to enter. And that's important with water tanks, unless they're a pressurized tank. Now we are nearly full. You can tell by the change in pitch as the amount of space remaining in the container. And that's a little bit of science for you there. And it looks like we are near full. Place that cap on there just loosely because I don't want any insects flying in there while I'm carrying the water back over to Deliberate Perseverance, the affectionate name for the van. I'll be returning in just a moment. Let me pause here. And now we're back. I've already started pre-installing the intake hose. I'm going to finish tightening that on the manifold. The manifold is of my design as well. Just give me a moment. We're going to fetch the water. I've moved quite a few containers, totes out of the way, which I usually don't move when I'm doing this. Basically, the water is now ready. I'm now going to power the water system. And I'm going to open the appropriate valves. But before I do that, I'm going to move the camera and focus down on the actual jerry can so that you can watch the water being suctioned into the tanks. Give me a moment. Okay, I've now focused the camera on the jerry can. We are going to be inserting this suction hose, which, by the way, I just cleaned. I do that every time so that my water stays clean as possible. Now, I'm down about 6 gallons. What I do is I install the suction hose. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to move this little knot here. Sometimes this happens when you're working with stuff like this. Now, this is living on the road. You know, when you're stealth micro camping, it's not, sometimes it's more of an art than a science. I hate to use a cliche. I'm going to open the appropriate valves in the manifold, and that's going to allow water to be pumped into the tank. And this water is actually going to be pumped into the driver's side tank. And currently you can see the water drawing downward. And you can hear the sound of the pump changing. It's a self-priming pump, 75 PSI. Now, why do I have such a powerful pump? I want to have enough pressure when I'm after swimming in seawater. I prefer to have good pressure so I can rinse off quickly and not use as much water. I don't like to waste water. It's an important resource, but also being on the road, water is cumbersome. This is not an easy procedure, but it can be done in a parking lot. I've done it at gas station parking lots. I've done it at Walmart. Basically, wherever I can obtain water easily and not be an obstruction to others while filling the water. And also for my safety. I'm not going to leave myself vulnerable in an area where it may not be exactly safe. And what I'm doing right now is I'm watching the water tank level. At the same time, I'm listening to this jerry can. And if I hear a suction noise, then I know the jerry can is nearly empty. And if the tank is nearly full, either way, I close the valve. Overfilling a tiny bit is not going to hurt, but it's not really preferable. Better to be, I usually try to stay about a half an inch below completely full, and that's where I'm happy. And it looks like we're right there now. About a half an inch completely full, leaving a tiny bit of water inside. Now, like I said, I cleaned all these surfaces here before I started today, and now, that's about a half a gallon of water. That's probably what we'll carry with us just for emergency purposes till my next fill. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually switch the system so that it's going to be drawn. Yeah, my camera system again because of the heat paused on its own, and I didn't realize it. So continue. I did move the hoses, and now what I'm doing is I'm going to close all of the manifold inlets so that I'm ready to travel. But before I do that, I'm going to demonstrate that the water is now flowing. And the reason why, that's basically we are now pumping from the passenger side. And we will do that until I'm down about 5 gallons, maybe 6. And then we're going to just repeat this procedure wherever we may be. And that's basically the system that I designed. It's working very well for me. It has been online, I believe, since February, March. Again, now for travel, I'm going to close all of the valves on the manifold. And then I'm going to disconnect the power. And I will drain a little bit of pressure. And now the system to stow the water valve. And once I reload all the totes and everything, the system will be ready for travel. This is it's mid-late afternoon now, and after the camera issues again, I'm going to need to obtain better equipment as I move along with this. And we're in Baker County. This is a historic Olustee Battlefield. If you're interested in history, even if you're not, I mean, it is something that should be understood and to read about. Part of American history, part of Florida history. And but I better discontinue the video at this point. And this is Florida at Large, and I'm the Philosopher Pirate. Till next time.